Hi everyone, we are Group 1 from 2I3 and we will be presenting about the different underlying factors that caused World War II. It all started with the end of World War I. World War I ended with the defeat of Germany, Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire, with the French, the British and the United States emerging as victors. The winning states felt that Germany was to blame for starting the war. On 11th November 1919, they created the Treaty of Versailles, which punished Germany for their war transgressions. However, many Germans felt that the treaty was too harsh and was more of a diktat than an actual peace treaty. Germany was forced to accept full and total blame for the war, causing them a lot of international humiliation. Additionally, they had a lot of resource-rich lands such as Alsace-Lorraine and Saar stripped off and parceled off to other states. Germany lost 48% of her steel industry as a result. They also had to pay reparations amounting to £6,600 million, which bankrupted Germany economically. The unfair Treaty of Versailles was worsened by the failure of the League of Nations. The League of Nations' failure led Europe down the road to war. The LON, which was formed to protect global peace and security, did not meet its intended outcomes, and disarmament and this allowed World War II to take place. The League of Nations failed because the limited membership meant the absence of many global powers like USSR and the USA. Additionally, the LON did not have its own army and was ineffective in coming to decisions due to a high level of bureaucracy. It had lost all its trust, credibility and authority by the time World War II started. For example, during Japan's invasion of Manchuria in 1932, the League could not address her aggression as different states could not agree on trade sanctions to impose on Japan. It took an entire year for the report on the invasion to be published as the LON was indecisive. Additionally, Italy's invasion of Abyssinia in 1935 went unchecked and unpunished, weakening the League and allowing Hitler to circumvent it altogether because it was irrelevant. Had the League been stronger and more robust, Hitler might have been able to nip it in the bud. Hitler, who took over Germany after World War I, had a foreign policy which was instrumental in starting the war. Hitler became the leader of Germany in 1934. Hitler rose to power playing on the sentiment of anger that was present in German society during that time. He targeted the incumbent government, the Weimar government, for being ineffective and inefficient due to their flawed constitution. He also used multiple strategies of ensuring votes. For example, using voter intimidation and the elimination of opponents to ensure his party's victory. He also used mass rallies and broadcasts to influence voters and used his strong charisma to his benefit. Due to the strong feelings people had against the Treaty of Versailles and the Weimar government, he received 44% of the vote in 1933, making him the leader. Hitler campaigned on a highly nationalistic agenda during the elections. He promised to invade lost lands, ignore the Treaty of Versailles, and pull Germany out of the League of Nations. He also planned to rearm Germany and reintroduce conscription to prepare for the invasion of new territory. His plans were popular among the German electorate as he could create many jobs for the German people. After coming into office, he immediately carried out his plans. Although he was very popular among Germans, this was not good for international peace as his plans could result in another bloody war. During the period between 1936 and 1938, tension built up and that led to war. As Hitler started to follow up on his plans for a new German empire, the British and French took a policy of appeasement and pacifist stance to prevent war. In 1936, Hitler began stationing troops in Rhineland, which was one of the clauses of the TOV. Hitler planned a remilitarization at around the same time as the French general elections. As none of the French political leaders wanted to take responsibility for plunging Europe into a war, Hitler was able to escape unpunished and unscathed. After the remilitarization of Rhineland, Hitler pursued another one of his election campaign promises, which was the reunification with Austria. Austria was a majority German nation and his plans to unite Germany and Austria, two culturally congruent nations, was met with very little confrontation from the British and the French. Many felt that Hitler had the right to unite with Austria. Lord Halifax of Britain even told Hitler that Britain would not intervene if Hitler wished to invade Austria. On 12 March 1938, Hitler invaded Austria. As a result, Germany now had Austria, which was a resource-rich nation, and had many more minerals like gold, coal, and oil to fund their war efforts. Even though Hitler had declared that unifying with Austria was going to be his last territorial demand, he had secret intentions to take over Sudetenland, which was made up mostly of Germans. On September 30th, Hitler met the British and the French in Munich to discuss the possibility of annexing Sudetenland and parts of Czechoslovakia into Germany. The Allies readily agreed, with Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain calling it peace for our time. So why did the British and the French pursue appeasement? It was partly because both nations were bankrupt due to the Great Depression and did not want to engage in war. Some also posit that it was because they wanted to create a buffer state against the USSR, which was communist and seen as a threat being worse than the one Hitler posed. However, the main reason for appeasement was that the Allies wanted to buy time to build up their military forces in case of a war. Both Britain and France were convinced that Hitler would not honor past agreements and would continually seek more land. Thus, they wanted to use appeasement as a means to prevent war while building up their military to prepare for a war which seemed inevitable. So what were the final blows that led to the World War? The first one was the Nazi-Soviet pact. Hitler was preparing for the invasion of Poland, which he saw as a main target. Hitler had already signed multiple agreements with countries like Italy and Japan, such as the Pact of Steel, to ensure that he had a network of allies in case of war. On August 23, 1939, Hitler signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with Stalin, the USSR's leader. The agreement was that both of them would invade Poland and share the land occupied. Hitler used the pact to prevent a war with USSR. Stalin, meanwhile, was deeply divided between the British-French alliance and the Axis alliance. He eventually chose to work with Germany, as he saw the policy of appeasement that the British and the French were unreliable in protecting the vulnerable nations in Europe from Hitler. Upon seeing that Germany had already sought an alliance with the USSR, the British and the French decided there was a need to step up actions against the Axis powers. The British and the French promised to defend each other and Poland if they were under attack by Germany or the USSR. Australia and New Zealand were also involved in the treaty and promised to chip in to counter Germany if necessary. Germany threatened to invade Poland if Poland did not hand over land such as Danzig and the Polish corridor to Germany. When Poland refused to do so, Poland was invaded by Germany but from the west and the USSR from the east. The British and French kept their word and sent in troops on September 3, 1939. That day will be remembered as the official start of World War II, which killed 50 million people. What lessons can we learn from these incidents? World War II eventually led to the deaths of 60 million people, approximately 3% of the population at the time. Nations at the center of the conflict, such as Poland, lost up to 20% of their population. Fault lines caused by the war still constantly resurface, and every time we do, we will always be reminded of one of humanity's darkest legacies. The main method by which wars like World War II can be stopped is by ensuring harmony and maintaining vigilance during peacetime. Singapore is a small nation in a turbulent region where conflicts in our neighboring nations, such as Indonesia and Malaysia, will affect us and tear us apart. In recent years, we have faced the threat of terrorist onslaught, with many terrorist plots having been uncovered recently. We always need to ensure that we are united as one people and are vigilant enough to prevent ourselves from being divided by conflicts. We can also ensure that we are a peaceful nation by using our power at the ballot box wisely to ensure that we have leaders who can lead and steer Singapore through a crisis and maintain our harmony together. We also need to maintain strong diplomatic ties with other countries. External relations through institutions such as the United Nations can ensure that we can prevent international conflicts. We have to cultivate peaceful relations with other nations and find areas of agreement, consensus, and similarity to ensure that we have neighbors we can rely on whenever we need them. Finally, we have to ensure that all peace treaties we create in the future are balanced and fair. One underlying factor leading to World War II was the fact that the TOV was unfair and punished Germany too heavily, which led to Germans feeling a need to enact revenge, consequently leading to the rise of Adolf Hitler. By ensuring that all future peace treaties focus on reconciliation rather than punishment, we might be able to stop future wars from occurring.